I was on retreat yesterday with those who will be confirmed next year, and there was this beautiful picture. And it was Christ's face as he was hanging upon the cross. And as you got closer to the picture, you noticed the face of a multitude of human persons. This reveals that Christ died for every human being in the world. And this past week, the church wrote a beautiful document on human dignity, and its declaration is Dignitas Infinita. It speaks about the infinite dignity of each human person, which comes from God Himself. It states it can neither be claimed nor deserved, is not something granted to the person based on their gifts and qualities. It's intrinsically linked to the person, and it is prior to any recognition, and it cannot be lost. This reveals how precious every human person is in God's sight. For Christ went to the cross for every human person. And this is important because some suggest that dignity and rights are received from others, or they're based on the individual's capacity for knowledge and freedom, or because of their meritorious works or lack thereof, but it is prior to all of these things. For a mother does not love her children because they have the capacity for knowledge and freedom, or because they did any meritorious work, but rather because they are her children. Our infinite dignity comes from being God's children or His creation. It is something that can simply be rested in as we contemplate ourselves before God, even delight in, where we realize other human persons are not parasites on our planet, but people we're called to love and care for, who bear the image of God. Even in the midst of our border crisis in the United States, and even understanding it is breaking the law, we must not lose sight of the fact that they are human beings. For if we watch the news irresponsibly, we can demonize other people or even races while sitting on our self-righteous throne, the couch. And I'm not saying we shouldn't have laws or borders that govern our nations, for these are good things. But when we encounter a person in real life, we must see the infinite dignity of that person and humble ourselves before God's creation. Importantly, we must make a distinction between the digital environment and that of reality. Pope Francis mentions digital media can expose people to the risks of addiction, isolation, and a gradual loss of contact with concrete reality, blocking the development of authentic interpersonal relationships. Also, this is what brings people to conversion, that experience of being loved in real life, where as Christians we see Christ in them, where we see past people's sins, not to ignore them or not to not confront them, but we see them on the level of their dignity, as someone who's loved by God, who needs His mercy, grace, and redemption. Mother Teresa once remarked, if we are too busy judging, we have no time to love. In fact, this is why people go to jail, because we recognize the dignity or the infinite dignity of the one offended. This does not exclude mercy, but actually involves authentic mercy, which can never ignore a just penalty because of the infinite dignity of the one offended. For one of the sole ends of a community is to protect the dignity of every human person and uphold it. Therefore, this cannot be done without justice, but never with the intent to destroy another person and their dignity, rather to seek to reform them and give them a chance for repentance, even if they receive a life sentence. For in every violent act, a scar or wound is left in the dignity of the human person. This is what causes sometimes what is known as post-traumatic stress disorder. There's a recalling of the event of being violated on the level of one's infinite dignity. This is common in war and other violent situations in people's lives. But also there's the other reality of the violent offender, who walks about with guilt in his conscience and often suffers from remorse, maybe thinking they are already damned. For throughout the public ministry of Christ, he affirms and holds up the value and dignity of all who bear the image of God, even the worst sinners. And he does this not to disqualify justice, which he upholds firmly, but to seek to restore and save all humanity, especially those souls that are hell bent and truly need redemption.